Hey, hello out there. This is Old Buck Dave, and with me is basically nobody. Old Buck Dale is somewhere else. I understand there was a glitch in renewing his license in the Witness Protection Program, something like that. Hey, it should be sorted out by next week, and we expect to have Dale back. And in the meantime, I'd like to welcome all our new listeners. We've had a big surge in listenership. I think we're now bouncing up against double figures almost. So appreciate that. Thanks to you all. So for all you new listeners, I am going to take this opportunity to give you a sample of some of our past episodes. Is it going to be the best of the Bucks? I don't know about that. It'll be some of the Bucks. It's like all the news that fits. I hope you enjoy a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This first segment goes back all the way to episode number 2, where we got our first letter from afar, basically asking us how we can tell each other apart. So this is our take on how we can tell each other apart or not. We got a letter.
Uh-oh.
Letters from afar. This was our first letter. Let me read it to you, and we can talk about it. This comes from Chad in St. Paul, Minnesota. Dear Bucks, I see from your podcast logo that you dress alike. Sometimes you even sound alike. Do you ever get confused as to who is Dale and who is Dave?
We don't, but others do. Although there's some clear similarities. I gotta agree, don't you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, we are similar in many ways.
We're similar in many ways. Same height, I think, right?
We are the same height. We got the same initials.
Same initials. We went to school together. Or?
We grew up in the same town.
And we live in the same town.
We played sports together.
Yeah.
We dated the same girls together.
Yeah.
Not at the same time.
Not
or
at the
maybe
same
at the
time,
same
yeah.
time, but no threesomes or anything like that.
So we really have a lot of things in.
Yeah, I mean,
in common.
you recall. I mean, you lost a kidney in high school, and then I lost like half a kidney 14 years later.
I did find that kidney. They gave it back to me. It was in a jar.
I know you showed it. Yeah, you carried that around with pride for a while.
Long time. Yeah. Everybody wanted to throw up. Anyhow, yeah, it's true. And you lost a kidney or a portion of it.
Something else I was thinking. We both married immigrants.
We both married. Yes.
So,
our wives are from someplace else.
They're from someplace else, and of course they both make us feel inadequate when they start speaking in one of the 6 languages that they know.
Right, and
we
to
feel
keep
like
their
stupid
conversation
Americans.
quiet, right, from us.
Yeah,
okay, that's true. We're very similar.
And we're both still living in the same town.
I think we have a very similar.
It's a different town, but
very similar sense of humor. That complements each other. I feel confident about that.
Yeah,
and we've had a lot of experiences.
We've had
together.
a lot of experiences. Some of them we can talk about. But I'm thinking this kidney thing. Now you keep talking about the kidney in a jar and all that.
You thinking of the kidney incident?
Oh yeah. Do you remember I was fixing my bicycle.
Yes.
I was putting a new derailleur on.
Yes.
And I needed kind of a special metric bolt. It had to be a specific thread and length.
Right.
And I didn't have any like that. What did you say? You said.
I said, let's go get it at this
some nuts and bolts store. I don't remember what the store was.
Yeah, I think it's called Bolts R Us or something.
Bolts R Us. Okay, yeah, Bolts R Us.
So we were in the store. And
we found the ones we needed. So that was a good thing.
We were in the checkout line.
We were in the checkout line. Okay. Second in the checkout line.
It was me and you, and there was a guy in front of us.
There was a stranger in front of us, and there was nobody at the counter, nobody at the cash register to check us out. So we're waiting and waiting.
And this guy says what?
He turns around and he said, what the heck do you have to do to get waited on here? Donate a kidney? And we just looked at each other. We didn't say a word. And we pulled our shirts up.
Yeah, we lift our shirts up and immediately say,
that's pretty much, yeah.
We've been here so long. I don't know why we even came back.
We
lost the kidney already.
Yeah.
And then that place just erupted in laughter. And we laughed the whole way home after that, too. It was one of our more brilliant impromptu comic routines.
Next, we go back to Season 1, Episode 4. This would have been November-ish last year when Dale educated us on the spotted lanternfly. Interestingly, today you see episodes on television warning people about the spotted lanternfly. It just goes to show you how far ahead of the curve Dale was. He is kind of a forward-looking man of the future, Renaissance guy. So listen to Dale's little segment on educating us on the spotted lanternfly. Now this is our Culture Club section, folks, and Dale's going to educate us a little bit on the lanternfly.
Well, this to me was very fascinating. This is from an article in the Smithsonian Magazine, October issue 2020 of the Smithsonian Magazine. And this may be of interest to a lot of people. This was a story about the spotted lanternfly. And let me read the blurb on that. Is an invasive insect that has spread throughout Pennsylvania since its discovery in Berks County in 2014. The spotted lanternfly feeds on the plant sap of many different plants, including grapevines, maples, black walnut, and other important plants in PA. If you see the spotted lanternfly, help us stop it in its tracks. To report sighting, use our reporting tool below or call our hotline at 1-888-422-3359.
Wait a minute. That's too many digits. Let's try that again.
1-888-422-3359.
You're right. I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Of course.
That's going to get edited out.
All right, spotted lanternfly. Anyhow, this thing, if you read this article or Google this thing should scare the daylights out of you. The way it propagates itself, how it spreads, and the ability of this, I would say a moth, to destroy a complete orchard of grapes or apples. And this, he says, this is so serious of an invasive pest, it has such a healthy appetite. And the way it does it, the way it sucks the sap out of these things, of plants, the biggest concern is spreading in the United States to places like California or something like that. And it has no natural enemy. And it can travel. It doesn't have to be on a plant to reproduce itself. It can travel underneath of a truck. It can attach itself to anything and just
underside of a pony, perhaps.
I don't know. I don't know if it grows in hair, but
okay.
I mean, you think about this. Just when you think we've got enough issues that can cause a financial disaster, if this thing ruins the grape or the vegetable harvest in 3 states of the United States, I mean, they were talking millions and millions of dollars worth of damage that this thing can cause. And now they don't have a way to stop it. So in essence, if you happen to be in this area of America where you see this, you got to report it to the Penn State. There's a Penn State division is researching this. University of Pennsylvania? Penn State. Pennsylvania.
That's
yeah.
different.
2 different schools.
University
Sorry
of
about
Pennsylvania is the one
Yeah.
nobody can afford.
But the lanternfly, if you get a chance to Google this article, there's a whole bunch of stuff out on this now. It's found in 26 counties, all of which are under an imposed quarantine. There's one story in the article about a man who had to physically check every plant and every tree that he was selling or moving, and he basically went out of business. He just couldn't manage the expense of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
the spotted lanternfly, look that up, and I think you'll find that to be very interesting. I never heard of it before. I'm only mentioning it because talking to you about it, and the other 3 people that listen to us.
So we do more than just provide useless information.
Right.
This is
that's all I
real.
have to say about that. And that's
All
a serious invasive species.
Okay.
So
next is my flat tire story that came at the end of our segment that Dale was hosting called Always or Never. So this is my riding my bicycle, getting a flat tire story, almost or never. Speaking of always and never.
Always and never.
That reminds me of something.
Okay.
I was just thinking the other day, I never get a flat tire on my bike anymore.
You never get one.
Well, in all of 2021, I've had 2 flats, but they were both defective tubes that just kind of split on the inside on their own. They were not as a result of picking up debris or riding over glass or anything. So it's just, here it was the last week of 2020, and I was just so proud of myself.
That you never get a flat tire.
I never got a flat in 2020. And so I was getting my bike ready. I decided to change out the stem. I put a little bit higher stem on the bike to, in deference to my ever encroaching arthritis in my neck. So while I did it, I had the bike up on the stand, and I like to check the tires periodically. That's what you're supposed to do. And I noticed the back tire was just full of nicks, a couple of little chunks out of it. And I thought, oh man,
you ride anywhere, don't you? You just ride.
Well, you ride. And I said, you know what? When this weekend comes, I'm going to take that tire off. I'm going to look at it and check how thick it is. I might be ready for a new tire.
And for you folks listening, we're talking about literally wearing the tread off of these tires. We're not talking about the bike you have in your garage that looks like it just came from Sears.
This is a bike that gets used.
These are bikes that get used. That literally wear the treads off of these things.
So anyway, the next day, it was just a couple days ago. So I go out for my ride, and I'm riding down further down the street here. There's a lot of construction going on, new developments, a lot of stones and crushed stones and pebbles out in the bike lane. I'm thinking, oh, this is not good. I'm riding over them, and they're crunching and crackling. And I get through, and
these are narrow tires too, aren't
they? These are narrow tires. And so about a mile down the road, it's like thump, thump, thump. Oh, it got me. So, God.
So never?
Well, almost never.
Almost never.
Yeah. So
almost never. There's another one.
So I pull over. I get up, take the bike up on the sidewalk. Lay it down, took the back wheel off. It's always the back tire, it's always
never the easy
it
tire.
Can't be
right?
the easy tire, yeah. So there's a couple walking on the sidewalk, going past me as I took the tire off, and this woman looks at me. She had kind of a Brooklyn type accent. No offense, Brooklyn. That's how you sound.
Oh.
So, well, I sure hope you know what you're doing. She just kept walking. Now, the guy was a little more empathetic, okay? He stopped, and he looked at me. He says, oh, man, this is like worst-case scenario. He says, you're stranded out here. And I said, no, not really. I said, I got a spare tube. It's in my pack here. I pulled it out and showed him the tube. I said, I've got to change it out, and I'll be fine. And he said, well, how are you going to blow it up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, well, look, right here, I got a CO2 cartridge. These little mini CO2 cartridges, pop them on, it's done. He looked at me, he says, man, you think of everything. And his wife,
it's your first ride, huh?
This is true. You can't make this up. So his wife looks back, he's still talking to me. She goes, what are you doing back there? Get over here. And he looks at me and he says, I should have married you. So it's not over. So I said, talk to my wife. She's been willing to give me away a couple times. But he just shook his head and walked away. So that was kind of an interesting flat tire story. Next, we have a segment talking about Dale teaching math in Eswatini, Africa. It turns out Dale is more than just a pretty face. So listen to his experiences teaching 9-year-olds in Eswatini, Africa, which is your math story.
This is
which I'm looking forward to with bated breath.
He has not heard anything. This is all new to him.
This is all new to me. As always,
not rehearsed.
Dale comes in with his 2 minutes preparation and says, "This is what I'm going to do, Dave."
Pointing and okay.
And I'm sweating bullets, wondering where's he going this week.
I experienced a math incident. I'll call it a math incident that caused a lot of chuckles and a little bit of reflection. So in order to give our listeners the math challenge, I'm going to give you some background. Now, you did know that I taught school.
I knew that you taught school, but I always thought you were teaching English over there, but you just told me that that's not the case.
No, I did not teach English. I taught some a little bit of sort of history, that kind of a thing, to some older students from, say, 16 and older, but I just had no rapport with them. So I ended up, it turns out that my best rapport is with 9 and 10-year-olds. So I actually taught several years fifth grade, and in a class where you could teach a little bit of reading. In fact, on opening day,
you were kind of an elementary school teacher.
Yeah, kind of an elementary school teacher. I found out that I really had a rapport. So I'm thinking I'm really clever that I've adapted. I'll let you know why I have that rapport. So on opening day of school, when the kids would come in, I would say, listen, boys and girls, I want to teach you the 3 R's. Reading, R-E-A-D-I-N-G, writing, R-I-G-H-T-I-N-G,
I believe it.
and arithmetic, R-I-T-H-M-I-T-H-I-C.
Some other letters.
Right, so I write the 3 R's on the board.
Dale is the world's worst speller, by the way.
So when I read it on the board,
he's not making this up.
And then I sort of hesitate a few minutes, and surely enough, one of them or 2 of them or 3 of them, or sometimes all of them, their hands would creep up real slow, and they would say, you spelled that wrong,
Mr. Dell.
Yeah, they said you spelled that wrong, and I would turn around and say, and you caught that, and that's exactly why I'm going to teach you, because I don't want you to grow up to be like me. You're better than this. So, when it came to math, we did fractions. We did a lot of stuff in centimeters and meters and stuff like that. So we did some fractions.
Use the metric system. I love it.
Yeah, much simpler. So we had a lot of fun with that. And we did some percentages, and we tried to do long division, but that was a little bit. I had a hard time conveying that concept.
There? Oh, okay.
So I admit that we didn't succeed at that. However, this is what I did succeed at. I succeeded explaining to the children their need to know this basic math. I convinced them that it was important that they knew that. And I was able to use the math at their level. And this is when they're 9 and I'm 48 or 50 years old, and I realize that I have no more ability at math than a 9 or 10-year-old.
There's a plus for that, though, right?
Well, I was actually on the same mathematical level with them, and I understood the math that I was working with.
So you understood how they struggled.
I understood how it was. Math is a difficult concept, so I was able to convey to them the importance of it. And as a result,
how did you do that?
Well, we played games where you had to be quick at adding, all the numbers from 1 to 10, every combination thereof. And I insisted I was going to send them to the store. They had to come back with the right change. And I said, I'm going to give you 50% of this. And, I just made it
dangled
practical.
some incentives out there. That's good. That makes sense.
It worked. These kids went on with a very relaxed approach to math and reading and writing. They were really, really quite good. They can communicate at 9 years old in all 3 ways mathematically. By the time they got to 12, when the real math teachers started work on them, and on through 18, every one of those kids were just phenomenal. They child books, they did the math. So basically, I'm telling you that I really got along well with 9 and 10-year-olds math-wise. And I realized that that's pretty much the level I've ever reached with math, because I have other people figuring out math things for me.
You call me, right?
Yeah, I call you, or you go
Dave.
on to Google, or you do something else, because everything I needed to do with math, there was a calculator and stuff like that now. Mm-hmm. So
next, we have some snippets from an interview that I did with my grandsons, 7-year-old Gabriel, also known as Officer Steve, and Commander Nash, and his 4-year-old brother Grayson, also known as Commander James. in the episode, they call me OT. That's their name for me. I'm not Grandpa. I'm OT, old timer. So you'll first hear a little bit from Officer Steve, the crime fighter, and then a little segment with Commander James Grayson, who will talk about our overnight camping trip. Here it comes. You'll have to excuse the audio quality. It doesn't meet our typical Buck standards, but we managed to do it under trying circumstances. Here it goes, folks. Okay, hey, this is OT here with... Who am I with? Who's visiting me today?
Commander Nash.
Commander Nash. How are you today, Commander Nash?
Good.
What's going on today, Commander Nash?
Well, there is a lot of crime for no reason.
No reason. Close to your mouth.
There's a reason they're trying to steal stuff and do something bad.
So who takes care of the bad guys? Who chases them and puts them in jail?
I do.
You do.
Well, Commander Nash is my nickname. Steve is my real name.
Steve is your real name. Oh, okay, Steve. Good talking to you. So what else is going on in the world of the good guys and bad guys, Steve?
Well, we are also doing...
Are you working today, Steve, or are you on vacation in Florida?
I'm on vacation in Florida.
Oh, tell me what you did on vacation here so far, Steve.
I went swimming at the beach. I went swimming in a pool back there. Back to the crime talk.
Back to crime talk. Let's do some better. The microphone.
So since they were invading,
Mm-hmm.
we had to get... They were going in submarines and drilling.
Submarines. Ooh.
Yeah, and then they got these big drills out of the submarines when they were close to the land and started drilling through.
Drilling tunnels.
Yeah, and then they just prop up, and then they just like and go out at the top of the land without noticing. Start firing.
Then they cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah. The police come.
Who do the police call?
The police call Steve.
Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Are you Detective Steve or Officer Steve? Keep it
I'm
by your
more
mouth.
like a half ninja, half superhero.
Half ninja, half superhero.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's a pretty scary combination.
Mm-hmm.
I bet the bad guys are afraid of you when that happens.
They're not really.
They're not afraid of you?
Some of them are.
What about the guys in the haunted house? Any bad guys in there?
I don't know why they're building haunted houses. The bad guys are building haunted houses and dressing up, trying to scare me. I just pull off their masks.
You're not afraid of them?
No, I'm not.
Oh, that's great. That's great,
And
Steve.
then they start throwing grenades. I just
You swat them
hold
aside?
my hand up and catch them and throw them back when they're about to explode.
Nice. So you're saving the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
You're protecting them.
And then I go in the basement to set a trap.
Yeah.
They go in the basement. They chase me down. Then I hide and get up. They look around in the basement. Then suddenly I shut the door, lock it, and let a bomb in, and let a bomb in the haunted house, and then run away.
That's a good.
And then they're trapped.
They
and
are
then they can't get out
They
until
can't.
the bomb explodes.
Ouch. Then what happens? Then they're French fries.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, huh? Okay, that was a little bit of Gabriel, and next we hear some Grayson. Hello, everybody. This is OT here with another special guest. My special guest today is Grayson James. He's a pretty famous guy in the Nashville area, and he's here to talk to us about some things that are going on. So how are you today, Mr. Grayson?
Good.
Tell me something about what you've been doing lately. Have you done any camping or?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, I camped out in a cabin. I slept on the top, and my brother slept on the top. In OT and my dad slept on the bottom bunks.
Oh, so who had the best bunks? Who had the best?
Me and Gabe.
What did you do up in your bunks? Did you see anything or?
Watch TV.
Okay. You watch TV?
Yes.
Did you see, what did you see on the TV? Scooby or?
We watched a movie on it and Scooby.
Wow, I bet that was fun. What else did you do when you were at the cabin?
We fished.
Yeah.
Didn't catch any fish.
Didn't catch any fish, okay. What else?
Well.
What did you do at night?
Watched a movie.
Before that? Did you do anything outside at night?
Roast marshmallows.
Oh, what did you make?
Marshmallows.
S'mores? Was it s'mores?
S'mores.
And who was taking care of the fire pit?
OT.
And who was his helper?
Me.
Boy, and you did a fine job too. I want everybody out there to know that. You were an excellent fire master. It was very safe. What about breakfast? Breakfast the next morning.
We went to a cafe and me and my brother,
What did you have?
I had a blueberry muffin and orange juice, and Gabe had a banana nut muffin with butter and orange juice.
Wow. So what did you do after breakfast? Then you packed up, huh?
Yes. And then we left.
Then you left. And what did you do yesterday? I think you had a pretty busy day yesterday, didn't you? So that was part of the interview. You can go back to see to listen to season 2, episode 15 if you want to hear the whole interview. So I hope that gives a good sampling to our new listeners and a good retrospective for our old-time loyal listeners, old bucks and vintage vixens alike. So on that note, I will say this is Old Buck Dave saying adios, dos vidania, auf Wiedersehen. We're not in Canada, and all that. Talk to you next time, folks. Bye-bye.